This is me, Kev from Kevin's Corner, where I try to make sense out of nonsense. And I'm starting a little bit early for my new slot, Monday through Friday, 7 till 8. Just get warmed up, man. So this way, at 7 o'clock, we can hit the ground running. So let's see. It is 6:49 right now, Eastern time. So, I use this time to chase down gnats and try to smash or kill them, things like that. Check my sound, make sure everybody's doing hunky dory. How's everybody out there doing? I see thumbs up popping up all over the place, and that's what I'm talking about. So, if you're just joining the show, make sure you hit that like button. And I'm talking all over it, man. Tap dance all over it. Make sure you share my videos and all that good stuff. Somebody said Kevin's Corner rock. That's right. Rock the streets out all night long, huffing and puffing and singing my song. I don't even know all the words. All the little birdies on Jaybird Street love to hear the robin go tweet, tweet, tweet. Rock a robin, tweet, tweet, tweet. Yeah, man. I use these times like a couple minutes before the show to reminisce back when times was good and folks had sense. Y'all remember those days, man? Well, folks actually had some sense. Good days, man. Now we don't know what we're gonna run across, so we got to be careful. It's been reversed. It seems like the whole world has gone crazy, and the minority is walking around like, hey, man, I'm scared to even say the truth now because the folks with no sense might jump all over me. That's ridiculous. So we are in some very peculiar times. I'll just say that. Now, I hope that coming into the weekend is going well for you guys. This number right here behind me, 330-974-4607. If you text MAGA to that number, then you will be in Kevin's Corner this way. Just in case the powers that be decide they don't like me, you'll be able to at least keep track of what's going on, where I'm at, just in case, I just disappear for a little bit. You never know. Y'all at least be able to connect with me. So please text that number if you haven't already done that so I can keep you posted. Now, I don't have to necessarily text y'all every day because I'm already dropping the schedule out there. I will be doing my show 1 hour a day, Monday through Friday from 7 till 8. So you can kind of set the clock by it. I want to get my audience used to expecting a specific time. This way, to eliminate a lot of, well, I don't know when you're going live and all that stuff. So from 7 to 8, but that does not mean I'm going to stop posting pre-recorded individual videos. So tomorrow I'm going to post one that's going to knock your socks off. So please check back. And if you're not a part of this text chain, please join it so that you can receive those text messages, and I'll let you know when it pops up. This way you won't miss it. Now, like I said, like, share, follow me on all the other platforms. And if you want to donate to Kevin's Corner, I told y'all Big Tech sticking it to me. So I created a link right in the description, right up at the top, for my $5 a month, what did I call it? A fundraiser. There you go. Link's right up at top. All you got to do is click on it in the description, and you can support the channel that way. Like I said, I don't want anybody straining. If all you got is $5, don't you be talking about, well, Kevin's Corner is important. No, I don't want to be like that. Okay. That's only if you can. And I've seen people starting to do that. So thank you very much. Now, let me see. KC, North Carolina's in crib? What? Who else? Where else? Where's everybody checking in from? Let me see how much time I got before we start. I don't want to get caught up, having a good time and talking to y'all about where you're from. Anybody else? Where's that? Okay. Somebody said, what's really happening? Oh, we about to find out. We about to find out what's happening. Okay. As we get it started. You know why? Oh, yes. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. Let me check this out. Let me make sure everything. Okay. Wait. Yes. Check one. Biden. Doom. He's a line machine. Oh, baby. So not only is he a gas machine, he's a line machine. Automatic, systematic. That is a line machine. And we are about to expose all the lies that comes out of his mouth, man. And the fact is, so many people have overlooked those lies. And then we're going to expose the two-tier justice system that folks, for some reason, they don't see it. I mean, they're totally oblivious to, the two-tier justice system, especially the fake news and the Democrats. They don't get it, man. Yeah. So we're going to be talking about that today. And with no further ado, let's go ahead and get a jump start on tonight so I can cram it all in before 8 o'clock. Somebody said San Diego. Oh, yeah. Out there in California. Out there with that Gavin nuisance. Yeah. We got to do something about that, dude. All right. Let's go ahead and get the party started. Yeah. Let's see. Where's my theme music? Where's it? What is that? What is it? Real gorilla. Real gorilla. Real gorilla. There's some kings in the building. Gorillas in here. Gorilla in here. Gorillas in here. Gorillas in here. I see people checking in from all over the place. Florida, Georgia, Long Beach, California. Oh man, we done went national. Now all we got to do is get somebody to chime in from another country. Then we gonna go international. Now, speaking of international, we got some international idiots in our dang on government right now. Starting off with this dude. I located another Bigfoot up there walking around at the Capitol. Okay. This one ain't as smart as the other Bigfoot that was talking about some. I'll say it. I'll say it. Nah, this one ain't as smart as that Bigfoot. Okay, this one right here got some problems. So let's check in with this Bigfoot and see what he had to say about this impeachment.
This news that Speaker McCarthy has formally launched an impeachment or has said he's going to.
Oh my God, really?
You see that Bigfoot right there? You see that Sasquatch? You see that Chewbacca looking Wookiee right there? You see him? He's growing a big old fat 80s or 70s mustache. What's up with that dang on handlebar mustache? What are you, a 70s cop? So now here he is trying to be funny, I guess. He's reacting like this whole impeachment or inquiry of Joe Biden is stupid and oh God, ooh, the scared Republicans. But look at how his staffer reacts to him.
Oh my gosh, it's devastating. Ooh, don't do it. Please don't do it. Oh,
look, the staffer's uncomfortable. The staffer is like, hey, Bigfoot, come on, let's get out of here. You're going to embarrass the whole country, Bigfoot. Dang on it, we done shaved you down and stuck you in Congress. And now you're revealing that you don't use words. Ooh, no wonder he can't speak right. He's a Bigfoot. So he's dragging the Bigfoot away as the Bigfoot pretends to not be worried about it. But I guarantee you, though, it's going to change his mind and a lot of other people who are downplaying this if somehow all of this evidence comes out. And I ain't talking about just amongst us. I'm hoping that these Republicans can bring out the evidence in such a way where no one else can deny it, including this Bigfoot. So he gets drug off. Now, this is the same guy that was hanging out with Creepy Sleepy back in the summer. Let's see what happened there.
Oh, no. Yeah, we gotta run back. And now I'm standing next to the president again, next to a collapsed bridge here. And he is here to commit to work with the governor and the delegation.
I don't speak Wookiee. Does anybody speak Wookiee? Chewie. So you hear this dude? I don't know what that is. So here's that guy up there just joking around. And this is him back in the day where he was the joke. And he's standing next to a bigger joke right next to him. Creepy, sleepy, sleazy, slimy, sloppy Joe, who we're about to get all in his business.
Sure that we get this fixed quick, fast as well, too.
Okay. So speaking of creepy, sleepy, sleazy, slimy, sloppy Joe, which is the liar in chief, this guy right here, Biden, dun, dun, dun. He's a lying machine. Oh, baby. Automatic, systematic. This dude is a lying machine. And I'm upset that it's just now hitting the fake news. You mean to tell me this man been lying up under all of their noses the whole time and they didn't know it? They didn't know it. They just now catching the lies? We knew about the lies a long time ago. I'm going to kill that. I'm going to kill it. Every day is one nap. So now let's go ahead and take a deep dive into the lies. We're going to take a deep dive into the lies. Somebody said, Kevin is feeling good tonight. That's right. I feel good. All right. So let's check out what's going on with these lies as we take a deep dive. And I'm going to go ahead and ask my boy, Don't Walk, Run to help us out.
This is Joe Biden, President of the United States.
Creepy sleep?
As you well know, Biden tells stories about his family at nearly every single opportunity.
He does.
But how much of it is real? Well, probably not a whole lot.
My dad was a well-read guy. His greatest regret, he never went to college. My dad was a really fine man, and he was well-read. He never got to go to college. My dad was a well-read, high school educated guy whose great regret was he never got to go to school. My dad is a hard-working guy, a real gentleman, a decent man. He never got a college degree. He never got to go to college. It was a great regret he had.
According to the 1940 census, under highest grade of school completed, Joseph Biden Sr. is marked C1, i.e. 1 year of college.
Well, wait a minute. Joe Biden have built that story into his repertoire. Every chance he get. My dad, he never got a chance to go to college. And then it went from college to school. My dad never had a chance to go to school. I'm surprised he didn't. My dad had never had a chance to grow up. He's still a kid. He's actually younger than I am now. My dad had to walk to school with no shoes on, no clothes at all. He was butt naked in the winter. The story is always evolving. And he used that story and said that his dad never got a chance to go to college. Now, see, if I'm just a bubblehead, I'm starting to feel like Joe and I got something in common. I'm saying, see, Joe real, man. He understands the struggle. He knows what's going on in the streets. Got his ear right down there, right down to the streets. If I'm a bubblehead. So if we don't take this deep dive into these lies, there might be people out there still thinking that Joe Biden can relate. Now, I just saw somebody said England or the UK is in the house. That's right. Hello. So welcome to the show. Now we done went international. So let's go ahead and see why Joe Biden's dad, my dad never got to go to college. Let's see why.
Furthermore, in a 1941 article in the Scranton Tribune regarding his marriage to Catherine Finnegan, Joseph R. Biden Sr. attended the prestigious Johns Hopkins University.
My dad was a well-read man, and his greatest regret was he never got to go to college. My grandpop, who I never met, he died in the same hospital I was born in 2 weeks before I was born.
No,
So now the lies are evolving. They're evolving. So the reason Joe Biden's dad never got to go to college wasn't because, he couldn't afford it. It wasn't because he wasn't smart enough. It's because he dropped out. Okay. They gave him a job working, I think, with his father or something like that. And he dropped out. That's why. It wasn't because of hard times or the normal thing that keeps some people from going to college. It was because he just chose not to. So he was a college dropout. Now he moves on to his grandpop, who died how many days before Joe was born?
Joseph H. Biden passed away in a hospital in Baltimore, Maryland in September 1941.
41.
Joseph R. Biden Jr. was born November 1942.
Wait a minute. Hold on. He said 4 weeks before, 4 days or something. Hold on. Let me see. Let me do the math. Minus the 3, carry the 1. Oh, wait. No. You know what? It appears to me that Joe Biden, once again, is stretching the truth. He ain't stretching it. He's contorting it. He's breaking it up. He's smashing it. He's melting it down, reforming it and everything. So now it appears that his grandpop died way before Creepy Sleepy came into the world.
1 year and 2 months later, in a hospital in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
And no, Biden is not referring to Grandpop Finnegan.
Yeah, because we hear about Grandpop Finnegan all the time. Grandpa Finnegan. So let's see. He's not talking about Grandpop Finnegan? Huh.
Because he didn't pass away until 1957.
Oh. And by the way, my Grandpa Biden died very young. He died in the hospital I was born in 6 days before I was there.
6 days. 6 days. So now either this man right here just don't even remember the details of his granddad dying when he died, all this stuff. I don't even know why he's building this into his story. He's one of these guys who just lie for nothing. You lied for nothing, man. There's no benefit to these lies right here. None. You don't have to say your grandpa died 6 days before you were born. Just say he died a year or something prior to me being born. These are unnecessary lies that are tolerated or have been tolerated by the fake news for years. Now, prior to this man being shoved out there to run against Trump, they disregarded this dude. They were still laughing about his gaffes. They were out there mocking him and joking about how touchy-feely he was with the kids. They were talking about all the lies he told that made him have to drop out of the race way back in the day. But then when he got thrown out there to run against Trump, all of that just disappeared. Media stopped recognizing that. Yeah, you better not be talking about his past. Forget that mess. This man's a saint. And they carried these lies all the way up until recently. I guess the lies have just kind of come over the cup. However, it could be that they are now starting to cut ties with the liar. These are the lies that make you cut ties. So let's finish hearing more about Grandpa who died 4 days before Joe came into the earth.
Before I was born. You know, I remember, as I said, my family, I was born in Scranton, Pennsylvania. When Cole died when I was in 3rd grade, we had to move. Look, folks, I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania, where I was raised. The reason I got to Delaware is Cole died. My dad was not in the coal mines, he was in sales. But the whole economy died.
Joe Biden wants you to believe that he's from middle-class Scranton, that he was there since the day he was born, until the town died, and then he had to move to Delaware. However, you'll be shocked to learn that he's not telling you the entire story.
What? No way. No way would Joe Biden lie to us, y'all. The man who's been lying for his whole career. No way would he be out there lying now. Now, these lies surpass his mental decline. These are built-in lies. These are automatic lies. These are lies that are programmed into him, and he just gets up there and it's automatic. Don't even have to think about them. Muscle memory lies right there. Soon as he grabs the mic, I don't care how many times they probably tell Joe, you can't keep saying that your son died in Afghanistan. Okay, I got it. Roger that. Go right out there. My son Bo died in Afghanistan. Joe, you can't keep saying that you went and got locked up trying to see Nelson Mandela. Okay, I'm on it. I got locked up trying to see Nelson Mandela. Joe, don't mention Corn Pop ever again. You know, it was me and Corn Pop. This guy right here is a habitual liar. And yet they talked about Trump. 40-something thousand lies a second. So let's hear some more about Joe. Just regular round the corner Joe.
First of all, Joe Biden Jr. was born in Scranton, but the Biden family was living in Baltimore, Maryland, where Joe Biden Sr. was working at Amoco. And according to the book Joe Biden, A Life of Trial and Redemption by Jules Whitcover, Joe Sr. and his cousin Bill Sheen Jr. became close friends, and Bill Sr. set the two young men up in the booming wartime family business, the Sheen Armor Company. And in an article by Adam Enthouse that appeared in The New Yorker, by August 1942, Joe Biden Sr.'s salary was $100 a week.
Wait, so I guess he was just round the way Joe from Scranton. Wow, I don't see how a family can make it on $100 a week. Oh, wait, so this was way back in the day. Let me see. Let's see if we could do the calculations right now to see how much that equaled to back then. So $100 a week.
By the way, adjusted for inflation, that's almost $1,900 a week.
I want that money a week. I like $1,900 a week. So just regular round the way Joe. From Scranton, his family was making today's money, $1,900 a week. That would be like, let me see, that's almost $2,000. Let's round up. So $2,000, $4,000, $6,000, $8,000 a month. Everybody okay with that? Can everybody live off it? Do you think you would have a regular round away experience with all of the common folks if you were making $8,000 a month? Times that 12. Let's see. I'm not a mathematician, but I know it's over $100,000. But nonetheless, According to Joe, Dad never got to go to college. We slept on the ground. We ate rocks. You didn't know that? That's why my teeth are all chipped up and they're fake, because I had to eat rocks growing up. Yeah, man, it was tough. So here we go.
In Massachusetts, a suburb of Boston, they bought a Dutch colonial house, the grandest home they'd ever own. They also splurged on fur coats and fine china.
What? Fine china and fur coats? That doesn't sound like just regular round and way Joe from Scranton. So the family had fur coats and fine china. This plot is thickening. I feel some lies are bubbling up. That's what I feel.
The family was now ensconced in a 4-bedroom Dutch colonial in a Boston suburb, with plenty of money and perks to fly back to Scranton to visit the Finnegans whenever they wanted.
I want some of that. I mean, you telling me they were living in Boston and would fly back to Scranton? Now, think about this, guys. This is back in the day. I mean, not everybody was just jumping on a plane back then, but they were able to do it anytime they wanted. So it sounded like little Joey started off on the good foot. Now they're out there in Boston flying back to Scranton anytime they want, buying fur coats and fine china. So let's see if it goes off the rails.
Joe Sr. was as generous to his family and friends as his benefactor was to him, as long as the money flowed. So thanks to Uncle Bill, Joe Biden Sr. was living it up. You know, just like your everyday average middle-class family.
Just like us.
But the good times did not last.
Oh.
After the war, Joe's cousin Bill Jr. lost his bearings in high living.
Okay.
I.e., he was a notorious drunk.
Oh. So we now are finding the origins of Hunter, the crackhead. So it seems like some type of addiction or something might be passed down through the blood. Maybe it's a generational curse. I don't know. Maybe it's iniquity. Who knows? But they had another reckless person in their family, and his vice was alcohol. That's what it was. So now we jump to today's age, and Hunter Biden is now, his vice is crack. I mean, now that's the poor man's drug. I don't even understand. You have all that money and you decided, I'm going to try crack. I mean, you would think he'd be on some cocaine, something, you know, but when you go to crack, ain't too many places you can even go to get crack outside the hood. So you're telling me Hunter Biden was rolling through areas where brothers were selling the crack? But so, hey, that's what it is. That was his vice. He made poor decisions. And it sounded like some people in Joe's past, some of his family members also made poor decisions.
Joe Sr. had to rely on his own devices.
Oh.
First, he planned with an old friend to open a furniture store until the friend absconded with much of the seed money.
Oh.
Oh, what a shame. Undeterred, he hitched up with Bill Jr. in a crop dusting enterprise over Long Island in upstate New York farm country, with the family moving from Boston to Garden City.
Okay.
But that venture failed too,
Oh.
with Bill Jr. running out on him. Jean, wary of warning her husband about him, decided to return to Scranton with Joey and Valerie in 1948.
That's how they got back to Scranton. Because Joe Sr., the one that never got to go to college, was making bad deals, bad investments, and the wife was going, I don't think you should do that. But he did it anyway. And all of a sudden, she says, I'm taking the kids, little Joey, and the rest of them, and we're going back to Scranton to live with my mom and dad. That's how they got back to Scranton. But you let Joe tell it. I was born as a son of a sharecropper. And, I had to bale hay. Did you know I was a slave? That's right. I was part of the slave trade. That's what I ran. And then once they traded me, I decided, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and free the slaves. So it was me and Harriet Tubman. And I said, hey, Harriet, jump on my back, carrying you all the way up to the north. See, this is how bad this is. I wouldn't even be surprised if a lie like that came out of this dude's mouth at this point. I freestyled those lies right off the top of my head, just like he does. Let's continue.
So apparently, the Biden household was so unstable that his wife felt the need to pack up the kids and run back to her parents' house in Scranton. And it turns out...
Y'all see the mother and father of the liar? That's the mother and the father that created Creepy. I wonder if they knew they were creating a creep. They dropped out Creepy, Sleepy, Sleazy, Slimy, Sloppy Joe. Let's finish.
that Joe Biden Sr. may have been a philanderer. According to the New Yorker, documents link Biden Sr. to an excursion on his cousin's 39-foot yacht, which later became the subject of an insurance fraud case. During his deposition, Sheen Jr. was asked to confirm that Biden Sr. and 2 unmarried women were with him on the boat, and his lawyer advised him not to answer.
Oh, now why didn't Creepy put that in his book? That's what I want to know. None of that was in there. It's my pops. He sit us down at the table and said, Joey, you know what? See, we get the good stories, the ones that make us think that Joe can connect and relate to hard times. That's the stuff we get. We don't get these stories. Why aren't you getting out there boasting about this, Joe? So it looks like Pop was out there on a yacht, kicking it. I'm sure just like Bill Clinton and all of them are flying around with Epstein and all of that stuff. I'm sure all those little tenderonis roaming around on that plane and on the island and stuff, they don't pay attention to. They're just there to serve drinks and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm sure that's what was going on the yacht. I mean, these 2 women right here, they stewardess. That's what they are. They just give us drinks and stuff. So let's continue hearing about little Joey's upbringing.
2 married men cruising around on a yacht with 2 single women?
What could go wrong?
Nothing to see here, guys.
A real gentleman, a decent man.
Then to make matters worse, Bill Sr., who had helped to underwrite the crop dusting enterprise, bailed out. It was back to Scranton for Joe Sr.
Oh, so Joe Sr. had to follow suit. He had to say, all right, instead of me out here living it up, trying to make it big or do whatever I'm doing, I got to go back, tuck my tail between my legs, and go back to Scranton, where my family's at. Okay. And what happens after that? Because see, Joe won't tell us these things.
So within 2 years, and several failed business ventures, which included co-owning a failed airport, Joe Biden Sr. was broke and forced to move back to Scranton and stay with his wife's parents.
Oh, the plot thickens. Now, I will say this, Creepy Sleepy have learned from his father. Don't open businesses that have actual assets, products, employees, things like that. Why waste your time producing some type of product to sell or providing some type of service when you can just become a politician and open up a whole bunch of shell corporations and bank accounts and stuff like that, and then use your influence to have people from other countries funnel money into all of these companies that you just created and ain't selling no products. He don't have to worry about going out of business like Pop did. See, he learned from his mistakes.
Look, folks, I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania, where I was raised. The reason I got to Delaware is coal died. My dad was not in the coal mines, he was in sales, but the whole economy died.
Now see, I've heard stories where he said his dad was in the coal mines. And my dad was in the coal mines. My grandpa was in the coal mines. And then, you know what? And my grandfather got the Medal of Honor. He said, Joey, I don't want it. Don't want it. They died, Joey. They died. We get so many stories about these people. And I'm going, are those true? We're about to find out.
Coal died in Scranton. There weren't any jobs. When we moved from Scranton, when coal died in Scranton, everything died in Scranton.
Everything, y'all.
So did the whole economy die in Scranton?
Yeah, I'm down to know.
Not according to the New York Times.
Oh.
Though Scranton was sharing in the post-war economic boom, Joe Sr. had trouble finding steady work. And nothing had measured up to his previous success.
Okay.
For a time, he commuted to Wilmington to clean boilers for a heating and cooling company.
Oh.
In 1953, he moved the family there.
So you're telling me that it wasn't the economy, it was Joe's dad? That's what you're telling me? So according to Joe, he remembers it as if the coal died. Cole just died, man. Now, it's ironic that he's talking about how Cole died and his family had to move and were broke and all of that stuff. And this man is pushing for getting rid of fossil fuels constantly. You're doing the same thing that you lied about happened to you and your dad and your family. But now you're the one that's actually causing families to go out of business, lose their careers, their income, all of that with this Green New Deal. But here you are talking about that after coal died, now you're killing coal. Now you're killing coal.
So Joe Biden wants you to believe that it's Scranton's fault that his dad couldn't find work and that it's Scranton's fault that his family had to move because, Scranton died. But consider that the only reasons the Bidens lived in Scranton in the first place was because his dad, Joe Biden Sr., was a failure who was forced to move in with his in-laws.
Oh.
And maybe had he saved his money instead of, improperly investing it and throwing it all away on fur coats and fast cars and frivolous trips back and forth to Scranton. I mean, it's his own fault that he was back in Scranton in the first place.
True. So let me get this straight. Pops right here passed that down to crackhead. Because, see, he handled business like the crackhead did. Blowing money all over the place, having a good time, filming his crimes. I was watching Benny Johnson, and of course we hear that mysteriously now Hunter Biden's going to get stuck with the gun charge and all that stuff. But the gun that they described was not the gun in the pictures and videos that he had on his laptop. So where did those guns go? They described a revolver. I saw a semi-automatic in his hands as he was up there flossing, trying to act like he was a part of the hood. He was a tough guy. So that's one thing that runs through their bloodline. They always try to connect and be something that they're not. So now here he is recording this stuff, got the guns out and the smoke and all of that. Click, click, click. Somebody needs to go find that gun that he filmed himself all up in the video with. See, these are things that bad businessmen like the crackhead makes, and it looks like Grandpop did too. And then I can't exclude Creepy, because Creepy put the crackhead over the corruption. You never put the crackhead over the corruption. You just don't do that. Corruption and crackheads don't mush. They don't go together. So he put the crackhead over the corruption, and now he's in trouble too.
Plus, the Biden family was living rent-free at the Finnegan household for 5 years.
Just like they're living rent-free in America off of all of the taxpayers, all of the folks that done funneled money into them, like that $1.5 billion deal from China. Yeah, they're still living rent-free.
Anyway, in 1953, the Biden family moved to Claymont, Delaware, and lived in an apartment building for 1 year that was similar to what this is. Then, 1 year later, they moved into this house in Arden, and then a year later, this house in Mayfield.
Now that looks kind of nice. So really, in a total of 1, 2, 3 years, they went from the bottom to the top. Well, we're moving on up. Now, I'm sure Joe Biden has embellished how long they went through this process. I'm pretty sure he would do that. That house right there looks good enough for somebody living right now.
I grew up in a neighborhood called Claymont, Delaware, when we moved from Scranton when Earl died.
Again, he only lived there for 1 year. He didn't grow up there. But Claymont, Delaware is part of the Biden mythos, so he's not going to start telling the truth now.
Nope. That man's deep in lies. He's too deep, man. Ain't no coming back from these lies. Drowning in them. Biden, dun, dun, dun. He's a lie machine, oh, baby. He's infested with lies. So let me understand. 1 year equals growing up.
But I was raised with a middle-class family. We weren't poor. We lived in a 3-bedroom house with 4 kids and a grandpa. Split-level home.
Grandpa?
Whoa. His grandfather lived with Bidens in Delaware. Really?
Now, the princess, my sister, had her own bedroom. As she should have.
You think he's keeping track of these lies? You think this man is conscious of these lies? I really believe Joe Biden is at the point where he believes the lies. The last bit of consciousness running around that man's brain is probably like, this was actually true, Joey. Tell the people your struggle. And he's full-blown lying in detail. These are lies with details, man. But they're also lies that can be looked up. That's why we got Don't Walk, Run here for us. He's one of those guys that can't tolerate lies. So he goes and exposes them all. Thank you. Don't Run, Walk. So let's finish about how Grandpa lived with the Joeys and all of them and stuff like that.
But the 3 boys, there were 2 sets of bunks in the other room.
So if you're keeping track, there were 3 bedrooms.
3 bedrooms.
One was Joe's sister's room.
Gotcha.
One was the boys' room. And one was the parents' room. Then where did Biden's grandpop stay? In the attic? Was he in the fourth bed in the boys' room? Nope. Because according to his obituary, when Grandpa Finnegan died in 1957, he resided at 2446 North Washington Avenue in Scranton, Pennsylvania. He was not living in Delaware.
An unnecessary lie. You didn't have to put the grandfather into the lie, but you want to spice it up. Unnecessary lies, man. Now, can you imagine the White House trying to defend all of these lies if the media were to do their job? Gay black drop's head would pop off. There's no way that she would be able to come out and address all of these lies. Now understand, this man right here who's doing this video, he has a plethora of videos pointing out all of Joe Biden's lies, the Biden lies. And this is just one episode. One episode. So Black Gay Drop would have to come out and explain all of this stupidity. What he was really saying is that the family was very connected and they all grew up as a loving family. And in his mind, Grandpa was... She would have to come out and defend all of these lies. But it doesn't stop there. So let me see. He just made Grandpa look like he was a freeloader.
And why would he? He had his own house.
Had 4 kids and a grandpa living with us.
4 kids and a grand. Maybe he's talking about Corn Pop. Who knows? Had 4 kids and Corn Pop lived with us. As we grew up, I realized Corn Pop's black. Then one Corn Pop living and growing up in our household because we don't want a racial jungle. See, that's when me and Corn Pop got into it. Pulled out that switchblade. I said, you might cut me, but I'll bust your head wide open with it. Maybe he was talking about Corn Pop, but he said his pop grew up in the house with them, but he had his own house. Maybe he just like living with them. Who knows?
Furthermore, in his book, Promises to Keep, Joe Biden writes, my mom's brother, Edward Blewett Boo Boo Finnegan, came to visit us in Wilmington just after Grandpa Finnegan died in 1956, and he stayed for 17 years. 17 years? Of course, Biden got the year wrong that Grandpa Finnegan died, but whatever.
Grandpa Finnegan died in 7/50/19. Probably totally backwards. Yeah, 7,591. He died then. Wait, no. Okay, wait, quintillion trillion years ago. Wait, he died a long time ago. So now he claims that Boo Boo came to visit them and stayed how many years? Now that's an unwanted guess. At what point do you say, hey, Boo Boo, when are you going back home? So
Blewett was a traveling salesman for Serta, the mattress company. But when he'd come off the road, he bunked in Mayfield with me and my brothers.
Oh.
We lived in a split-level home,
3 bedrooms, 4 kids,
3 bedrooms,
mom and dad and grandpa.
Mom and dad.
3-bedroom house with 4 kids and grandpa living with us, a split-level home.
So Biden is...
So now he doesn't memorize these lies. The man didn't memorize the lies. They are recycled over and over again. So here we go.
A, confusing his uncle with his grandfather, or B, he's saying grandpop because he thinks it sounds better in a story.
Bingo.
Probably the latter, but you be the judge. Now, speaking of the Biden home in Mayfield, Delaware...
I remember one night, true story, one night my dad... I could feel like he was rolling in bed because the headboard was hit the side of the wall.
What?
And the walls were thin. And you could hear, I remember one day, this is a true story, one day, one night I hear my dad was really restless getting up and down.
You gotta love that every time Joe Biden's about to spew some bullshit, that he has to preface it with something like, true story or not a joke.
Yeah.
I remember one night, this is God's truth, I remember one night, I guess I was a sophomore or junior in high school, and hearing the headboard of my dad, I could tell my dad was restless in the next room.
Man, do you hear what he's saying? It sounds like he's describing someone knocking the boots. Somebody said I'm buffering. Am I buffering? Somebody said they was banging. Yeah, it sounds like this man was hoodwinked as a kid or something. See, when my dad would come rolling on the scene and I was a kid, all of a sudden, things like the door would be closed. You know, you about 7. You wonder, like, wait a minute, why is the door closed? It's never closed until Dad comes around. Yeah. And all of a sudden that was closed. So here I am. Ding, 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 ding. Mama, what y'all doing? Heavy breathing. What? We in here doing taxes. Don't come in here. These taxes got us wore out. We wrestling. Stuff like that. You get older and you're going, hey, they was in there knocking the boots. But apparently Joe never figured this out. So all of that banging on the headboard, all of that restlessness through those thin walls was because of what, Joe?
Oh, yeah. Joe Biden's dad was restless, all right. And he had a hunger that only Joe Biden's mother could fulfill.
You could always tell when things were going rough. You could hear my dad when he was restless. And hear the head.
There's so many jokes that could come out of this. When things was going rough. So wait, could it have been? I'm just wondering. That Joe's mom and dad was getting a little physical next door. It's funny how every time when things got rough, I'd hear this banging on the wall constantly. And I'm like, what are they doing? Fighting? But I come to find out my dad was restless. Yeah, that's what it was.
Headboard move.
So Joe Biden's dad liked to play rough in the bedroom. Got it. Also...
Next morning I get up and ask my mom, I said, what's the matter with Dad?
That's a good question, Joey. Dad was, he suffered a seizure last night and his head was hitting the walls. And I tried to stop it. That's why I was screaming. Joey. The noises you heard was from me trying to put the thumb down his mouth or the spoon to stop that. And that's what it was, Joey. Go back to bed. So either he's so dumb that he never caught on to what was really going on. Oh my goodness. Or he's just straight up turning that into something else and making himself sound real stupid and naive.
Let me guess. She said, oh, it's nothing. It happens to every guy. It's not a big deal.
He said her company just said they're not going to pay insurance anymore.
That's it?
Health insurance.
What?
Wait, what?
Next morning I asked my mom. I said, I was in, I think, junior in high school. So what's the matter with Dad? She said, we just lost our insurance. His business was no longer going to cover insurance for the employees.
So that right there? I mean, first of all, how many times did this happen? You telling me? I guess what, every couple days or so, he probably was like, dang on it. They cut my health insurance. Calm down, honey. No, they cut the health insurance. So every couple days or whatever, just banging on the wall because of the health insurance. Most men would just get up and go in the basement, take a walk outside, go downstairs. Somebody said they thought they were the only one. So am I buffering? Somebody tell me real quick because I don't want to go on if I'm buffering. But boy, I'm getting a kick out of Joe. Boy, I tell you, man, these stories are not only just filled with lies, but adventure too. Somebody said I'm good. Okay. Well, now, here you go. So is that a normal way to respond when things go bad? You just start banging on walls, and that's because you're restless. Now, restless usually mean you're tossing and turning, shifting around. Not banging on walls. But here you go. Joe just don't know because he's slow.
Oh, I see. That sound wasn't his parents getting busy.
No.
It was the sound of Joe's dad worried about health insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. But to be fair, I know when I'm stressed out about money and my family's financial circumstances, I too start rolling around violently in bed.
I could tell my dad was restless. I could hear him.
Now,
Oh boy, I'm mad that I didn't do that right there. See, that should have been me playing that role right there, rolling around in bed. These jokes write themselves. So let me see. Y'all hear that, guys? Next time y'all get some bad news, just go ahead and start rolling around in the bed so restlessly that it creates a knocking, a consistent knocking, a rhythmic knocking on the walls. There you go. Now, the question is, if that was the case, wouldn't a wife say, you know what, how about you go sleep on the couch until you figure this out? Because I can't sleep. I can't sleep with you rolling around constantly to where you're banging on the walls. Wouldn't that usually happen? Or she would get up and leave or something. But no, she sat there and suffered while Joe Sr. just bounced all around and rolled around and banged on the wall. And then when little Joey came out, what was that noise, Mom? Your father's health insurance got cut. Wow. Hey, again? Yeah. Every couple of days, they're cutting the health insurance and then he goes berserk. So that's what happened.
Joe's story is true, and press X for doubt. I think his mom's response was more like, "Oh, you heard that, huh? Well, he's worried about health insurance, son." I mean, seriously, what parent sits their child down and tells them about their financial struggles, especially in the 1950s? Plus, we're expected to believe that little Joey Biden understood the concept of health insurance?
Yeah.
Hell, he doesn't even understand it in his 80s. And Biden describes the dad was restless about health insurance story like it was his road to Damascus moment.
Right.
Yet when it comes to Joe Biden's books, which I'm sure he wrote completely on his own, there's no mention of the event taking place.
None?
Why is that? Because it never happened. I know you're shocked.
Yeah.
Nice middle-class home, 3-bedroom home, 4 kids and a grandpa. And we were happy. I sometimes look back and wonder how my parents did it with those very thin walls. But
Yuck.
Oh man, this is great. Now my parents did it with those very thin walls. They lied to you. That's how they did it. They're working out the healthcare issues again, Joe. Go back to sleep. That's how they worked it out. And wonder how they did it with those very thin walls. Boy, this guy, he's a plethora of laughs. But on a more serious note, the fake news, late to the game as always, about those lies.
He has done, I don't know if it's similar things, but he's sort of told some stories that don't line up quite like this before.
Yeah, this president has a pattern at this point of either inventing or embellishing stories about his own past, his biography. He did it 3 times in one speech last month alone. He claimed he had witnessed a bridge collapse in Pittsburgh when he actually showed up about 6 hours later. He claimed that his grandfather had died just days before he was born himself at the same hospital. In fact, his grandpa died more than a year before in a different state, not the same hospital. And he also repeated a favorite false story that I and others have debunked over and over again about a supposed conversation with an Amtrak train conductor he was friends with, who was actually deceased at the time the conversation would have had to take place. And that's not all. There are some more serious ones, in my view. Previously in his presidency, he claimed at one point he'd been arrested during a civil rights protest when, in other versions of the story, he just said an officer had taken him home from a protest. He said he had visited the Pittsburgh synagogue where worshippers were killed in a 2018 mass shooting. In fact, he'd actually spoken to the rabbi, but never went. And he's made a whole bunch of others too.
Holy moly. So CNN pretending to grow a conscience and late to the game as always about those lies. You know they weren't. They knew these lies existed. They knew this whole man was a fraud going in. But so is their network. And now that he's kind of becoming useless, it's okay now to point out the obvious, all of those lies, which they just acted like they didn't exist for years. Whole time while he was in office, up until recently, they weren't discussing. In fact, they were just focused on everything that Trump was saying. In fact, they started saying we can't even show Trump because of all of his lies. We, as a network, we are held responsible for what we put out. And then if we put it out there, that all these lies, and yet this guy right here, filled with them, unnecessary lies. And yet now they're just recognizing it. Oh, we're concerned about the lies now? No, you guys are the lies. See, but what's even worse than those lies is the weaponization of the DOJ. And this is why my point that I made yesterday still stands. Forget going after the liar. I mean, don't get me wrong. He needs to be impeached. But to impeach him without impeaching the people who allow him to exist with all of that infestation of lies, corruption, how he's compromised. The people who really do that to cover up for this guy is not creepy and the crackhead. It's the DOJ, it's Garlic, it's Ray, and probably several others. And they're using the DOJ and all these institutions to go after us while lying to us and saying, no, we're not targeting anybody. So they're stuck on this whole, somebody say I'm buffering again. Hopefully it'll go away real quick. But they're stuck on this whole insurrection thing. See, they got to make sure they keep this front and center in the brains of a lot of brainless people. Because when they go after Trump for it, it got to look like it's grandiose. It's bigger than what it is. See, so we got to keep arresting folks. Like all of these dangerous folks are out there still plotting, along with the main plotter who's still lurking around and might take power and become a dictator. So let's see the latest on Trump, this whole thing. Whoa, what's this? Hold on. Breaking. Leftist demonstrators occupy House Speaker Kevin McCarthy's office in U.S. Capitol. A very sad day for democracy. Wait a shit. Stop the. Somebody call up Garlic, call up Raggedy, and tell them to stop the press. Tell them to stop going after those grandmothers right now. We got a situation. We got a situation taking place right now. So these folks done went up and dang on McCarthy's office. Let's see what happened. All these new insurrectionists. Look. Now, how in the world did those folks get up in that office? That's what I want to know about. How did they negotiate and navigate their way all the way into the office? Unbelievable. Here they are on their knees talking about somebody that now McCarthy's something majigger. Locking arms. Look at this insurrection.
Prison sentence for insurrectionist and Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio.
That black man, that Latino / black man. You're telling me after I just saw these insurrectionists in McCarthy's office right now talking about some I wonder if they're going to get the same amount of years as this man right here, Proud Boy leader. Now, if Trump gets back in, I hope he pardons this man immediately. Listen to this unjustly, ungodly sentence that they gave this man.
22 years in federal prison. That is now, as of today, the longest prison sentence associated with the January 6th insurrection. It reinforces how these sometimes slow wheels of justice do keep turning. Tarrio was convicted in May. With this sentence, he joins roughly 600 total individuals convicted of crimes related to the storming of the Capitol.
You see that? You see the plot? And they're trying to tell us, no, we're not targeting conservatives and stuff. This is absolutely atrocious. So this man got something like 20-something years for what? What plot are they talking about? Like, I still don't even know what he's accused of. What did he do? The man, there's no record of him and Trump talking. What are they talking about? This is, if Trump gets back in, pardon him, immediate. Day one. This is unimaginable. And yet Antifa, Black Lives Matter, all of them running around still. They're not tracking them down.
Over 1,000 charges, others await trial. Those are all for people who were on site.
So all the people that were on site. So 597 convictions of what? Oh, trespassing. My bad. Not sedition. None of that. Not insurrection. No, not domestic terrorism. Nothing like that. Oh, that's not even a thing. See, but who cares about the details? Just make it appear that all of these people were dangerous. I mean, come on now. Why would there be 597 convictions if these were not serious charges? What? Oh, you want to know the details of them? Oh, well, with that, it was the stuff they were running around doing things, and that's what they were all dangerous. So all of these people locked up, and they're still going after more. Why? Because Trump's still out. Because they haven't been able to use this whole narrative to stop him from running. So when they drop it out there through these bootleg indictments, it got to still look like it's fresh. They haven't even been able to round up all of the thousands of these insurrectionists.
The new RICO indictments are also the first charges against Trump aides and political elites who were not primarily at the physical insurrection itself. They stand accused of related crimes and plots with the same overlapping set of goals.
Related crimes and plots. Now, if this ain't a banana republic we're living in, I don't know what is. When I hear the fake news come out and talk about these Republicans are talking about dismantling the intel communities and all of this stuff, yes, this is exactly what I'm talking about. So now you got people that were just there on J6, just walking around aimlessly. Many of them didn't even go in, but they're still being tracked down. You have people who weren't even there on the location, but somehow these people all were plotting. You think this really happened? All of these folks right here in this clip right here, you think they were all sitting around plotting, how can we steal this? The folks that they have gone after and indicted, there needs to be repercussions for what these folks have done. Man, and this type of stuff that make you say divorce. Because if we don't get a divorce, we're going to be fighting. We're going to be tearing up the house. You understand that? Maybe we need to just cut our losses.
Steal the election, use fraud as a pretense to help efforts to try to hijack that January 6th certification.
Evening from New York, I'm Chris Hayes.
Here we go. Another propagandist. Another propagandist who is now trying to push a narrative. Now, make sure you stay tuned for the video I'm going to release tomorrow. Because see, where they're going now is they're trying to say that Trump's about to go ahead and set himself up as a dictator. He wants to be a king. He ain't leaving if he gets back in. So all you folks better be sure enough scared. Because that man who didn't do any of those things the first time are now going to do them this time.
Lots of developments today across different branches of our government, but all with a single through line. The attempt by Donald Trump to use his loyalists in those branches to destroy the rule of law. Trump is, as I keep saying, a uniquely malevolent figure. He nearly upended
his loyalists in his branch to destroy the rule of law because they are looking into Creepy Sleepy and all of his corruption that these people can't even recognize. They don't see it. There's exactly zero evidence that connects him to. Yeah, so it's all about Trump's loyalists. And they're trying to subvert law and they're trying to abuse their power and all of this stuff. So here it comes. More propaganda. Now, what's crazy about this projection that we're viewing is that the Democrats are doing exactly what this man is describing.
our democracy. And while he's been out of office for nearly 3 years, he still crucially controls one of our two major political parties, and many of the people he appointed remain in positions of power. Oh. He's counting on them to carry out what is essentially an authoritarian plot. He is
unbelievable. I can't even believe this is news, so-called news. Just, it's crazy out there. The plot, an authoritarian plot. We're watching one. You're part of the plot right there. That man right there and the other dude. This has no problem with Enrique getting 20-something years. Yeah, you guys are implementing the plot. We're listening to the insurrectionists right there. All of them. Man. Uh-oh. I got the sniffles. What the heck is going on here? Somebody put some pepper in this room or something. Dang on it. Are they just setting me up, CIA? All right, send in the pepper. Pump the pepper through his vents. The man's telling too much truth. Thank you. All right, so here we go.
He's attempting to wage total war against not only his political opponent, Joe Biden, but also against the force of law itself, against the actual constitutional structure of this country.
You hear this, dude? Full-blown projection and lies. So people are saying I'm still buffering. Man, you know what? We're gonna try something here. Let's see if this works. Let me know if you're still getting some buffering. I'll take a swig while I'm waiting. Okay. Am I good? Am I good? Somebody said, oh, I'm buffering again. Red hot. Might take a second because I switched back to the network. Stupid gnat. I'm going to get him. Could have been a gnat flew up my nose. Oh, I'm going to get him. Oh, you're going to get it. Now, so this guy right here, he's up here talking about, they're going after the rule of law and, all of this stuff. And he's trying to set himself up as a dictator. Now, you're going to find this is a recurring theme. They're starting to say this to scare a lot of people, just like they did the first time Trump got in. He was supposed to do this, remember? He was supposed to do this the first time. Anybody remember him doing anything like that? So here we go.
He wants them those folks throughout the government to finish the job that he started on January 6th.
Yesterday, on which
To finish the job that he started on January 6th. Now, this man just made up a whole story, a whole complete story, and he's not a part of the CIA / the Mockingbird, all that stuff. He's not. No. He's just a regular, upstanding, curious journalist that just went in and created a whole fictionary story about what Trump is up to. That's all he is. See, he's a propagander. That's what he is. This is unbelievable that man just said that. And this is what they're doing to conservatives. And they wonder why we say it's a two-tiered justice system. They wonder why we say that Joe Biden and all of his corrupt cronies all need some type of repercussions. They wonder why. Listen to this.
Troyer, who was a host on InfoWars, who I've met and hung out with, was sentenced
Mark
to
Dice.
2 months in jail because he was near the Capitol building on January 6th.
Near it?
He didn't even enter the Capitol. He certainly didn't attack any police, but he did step foot onto the grass and some steps on the Capitol grounds, which...
Well, that's enough to lock this man up. I mean, when it comes down to the Democrats and the DOJ that is ran by Biden, they're just doing their job, trying to keep civility in our country. They're not the real banana republic dictators and tyrants that they appear to be. No. And in fact, I'm sure they're working just as hard to go after all those Antifians and Black Lives Matterers. And I'm sure that the people we just saw in Kevin McCarthy's office are going to get 20 years. I'm sure they're going to track down all their friends. I'm sure they probably are on those cameras right now saying, all right, these are the ones that was in the office, but I'm sure there are people walking around outside and stepped on the grounds and they're trespassing too. All right, I want some facial recognition and we're going to go after those people and give them some time as well. I'm sure that's what they're doing. I'm sure, right? But instead they go after this dude who is a journalist.
was deemed a restricted area, even though nobody who came after Donald Trump's speech knew that because the bike rack looking barriers had all been moved. The crowd had then moved onto the grass. So for stepping foot onto the grass and some steps on Capitol grounds, he is now going to have to spend 2 months in jail. They say
they're making an example out of this man because of the network that he works for and what he stands for. So if you haven't seen the footage of them raiding this guy, it's ridiculous. Ridiculous. This is the guy, I believe, that they were able to call the people who have his safe combination, and they gave it Liberty Safe. Gave it to him. We over here. This guy right here is a white nationalist. He was part of J6. What did he do? Oh, he walked around. He just walked around. But nonetheless, we need the code to his safe. And so they gave it to him. So now this guy right here is getting 60 days in jail. Why do you think they're doing that to this man? I mean, you heard what Mark said. He just walked around, stepped on a couple steps. I mean, you would have never known if you got there late and all the back racks are gone and people are just walking around. You would have never known that, oh, I'm trespassing. But they don't want to be reasonable. They want to be cynical. And that's why they done tracked this dude down 2.5 years later.
he violated his probation agreement from a year earlier when he was arrested for protesting at Donald Trump's sham impeachment hearing by engaging in disruptive behavior.
So wait, shouldn't this apply to every radical that shows up at any of these meetings with disruptive behavior? Start screaming, start acting a fool constantly. Down there in Tennessee, you see radicals doing this all the time. They'll wait until somebody starts speaking, they'll go to something and jump up and do exactly what this man did, and yet they arrested this dude for disruptive behavior.
Outside of the Capitol. Remember this?
Here it is.
Awesome.
Here it is.
Jerry Nadler and the Democrat Party are committing treason against this country.
True.
And you can kick me out, but he's the one committing crimes. You are, Jerry Nadler. You're the one committing treason. America's done with this. America's sick of the treason committed by...
Don't look like he's resisting arrest.
We're not going to sit here and watch you run an impeachment and remove our vote. We voted for Donald
So
Trump.
that was enough right there. That all he's doing is just yelling on the way out.
We know who committed the crimes and it wasn't Trump. Trump is innocent.
Now, you were...
So y'all hear that? That's right there. All we just saw. That's what they're using as justification. Say we got to lock this man up now. Because see, he already done disrupted some stuff like that. But did he do it there on the 6th? He didn't. No, but just the fact that he was there and supported it, They're going to use that to put this man in jail for what, 2 months? 2 months. These people need to pay a price. Now, I said I'm going to stick to an hour, and it is 7:53. But my man right here, Judge Joe, he got something to say about these tyrants that are going after Trump. And man, if we win, they got to go.
Worried about downing Trump, you lose track of the fact that what you see, the indictments in New York, Florida, and Georgia are completely outside of the law. Take what this clown Bragg did in New York. Whether you like Trump or not, essentially what they did is indicted him for being the victim of a blackmail attempt. They said he attempted to bribe Stormy Daniels to remain silent. This guy didn't go to law school and didn't pay much attention when he was there, because when you flip the script as you were instructed first year, if you had to pay somebody to be quiet, you got blackmailed. So he's the victim of a felony.
But they don't care. They don't care about that. See, remember, they're using anything they can to try to dirty up Trump. Now, do we have trolls? I didn't see any trolls, but maybe we do have a couple of them in there. I always invite trolls to go one-on-one with me and reveal yourselves, but they never do. They never reveal themselves. So just in case we do have some of them, if they'd like to go ahead and one day, say, well, I don't like this guy, Kevin, from Kevin's Corner. And, you know what, I would like to debate with him. Please, I'm itching for a debate. Yeah. So now let's continue because Joe Brown is calling out all of these bootleg prosecutors who allow themselves to be prostituted.
If you indict a corporation for failure to file an explicit report as to what the payout was, well, there was a court gag order. And if they filed the explicit report, they violated the court gag order. Okay. Get to Georgia. I won't belabor all of the accounts, but I downloaded the 92-page indictment, and I was shocked to find that some of the crimes were that Trump is supposed to have advocated checking out Newsmax, Fox News, and some other conservative, religious-based news institutions.
So wait a minute. You're telling me in these bootleg indictments down there in Georgia, they're trying to say just because Trump recommended Newsmax, things like that, you're telling me that's illegal? That's worth bringing up charges? Kind of like just walking around on the Capitol, outside the Capitol on the 6th? Kind of like that? So who's the real tyrants? These people cannot have power. So you're telling me that just because Trump supports or recommended alternative news sources, they're saying that that's a part of the insurrection, and you don't have the right to do that. You were encouraging an insurrection. You were spreading dis and misinformation. You can't support alternative news besides us.
They're legal. Hell, I read them. So that's supposed to be somehow or another criminal now. All right, you get down to this thing in Florida, and they're talking about the documents. Well, let's forget what Trump did. Let's go back when he was not president of the United States and George Herbert Walker Bush was. There's a case from 1988 in the Supreme Court. It's called United States Department of Navy versus Egan. E-G-A-N.
Yeah.
And if you read the concurring opinions, they say, since constitutionally the president is the commander-in-chief of the military and chief diplomat of the country, he has an inherent power to declassify or classify anything, any document, in any form, shape, or fashion he chooses. He can do what he wants with it because, guess what? The mandate that causes it to be prepared says it is for the exclusive purpose of advising the president on the state of our intelligence versus what's going on in the world. So he also has a fiduciary responsibility.
Excuse me, I have a question. Well, what if you're not the president and you're just a senator like Joe Biden was, and somehow you were able to smuggle out some top secret documents and they're found in your house years later? Does that count as an illegal, act? It does. So why isn't Joe in jail right now? Why aren't they pressing charges against that man? That's my question. So now the president has the right to do that alone, and somehow Joe Biden, you cannot even explain this. There is absolutely no excuse to justify how this man ends up with top secret information at his house that he took when he was a senator. And they're running around trying to lock Trump up for this stupid stuff.
Ability has been held that you do, once you take that oath, whether you are in office or not, it still binds you, and you have to make an assessment on whether archivists have appropriate security clearances. So you keep going into it, and you find something that is very disturbing. Individuals belonging to a party are going to do the equivalent of
what?
A child in elementary school throwing something at another child and then running to the teacher and saying, teacher, he's going to hit me. You just wait until you go, my mommy picks me up. You won't be able to catch me.
Democrats.
See, that's what it looks like. And the idea that three individuals are going to, or three little entities are going to deprive the American public of who they want to vote for.
Keep going.
Is absolutely
what?
Disturbing. Let's say it looks like the National Socialist Workers Party.
Yeah. What? Now wait, let me see what those are. The National Socialist Workers Party. So please expound upon that as we close.
If you're not familiar with that, the acronym for National Socialist Workers Party is
what?
Nazi.
Nazi?
AZI. And we remember Adolf and Heinrich and all those guys. And
let me
what happened.
But wait a minute, Joe. We just heard from the fake news that Donald Trump is about to become a dictator, and they're going to go after their political enemies, and they're going to destroy the Constitution and all of this stuff. See, but what you're describing is the actual people who's doing that right now. That's what you're describing? And they're projecting this all on Donald Trump.
Let me ask this. Do you think they're going to put him in prison?
There's no way this should stand on appeal. What they want to do is take allowance of what Biden and Stennis and Byrd introduced 40 years ago is legislation that allows a U.S. attorney for the specific purpose of crippling someone, bringing criminal charges, even if there's no chance of making them stick.
There you go. Thank you, Joe. Now, we all know that. We all know Trump's innocent, but the bubbleheads don't. See, long as they could keep them still walking around going, yeah, Trump's did something. I'm sure he's all corrupt and dirty and stuff like that. And keep them from seeing the real corruption coming out of the Biden administration, the real tyranny coming out of the Biden administration. Thank you, Joe Brown, for calling that mess out. Now, he's not a white nationalist, I don't think. He's not a white supremacist. That's a black man right there who knows the law, who also knows the game that is being played by these corrupt politicians, the DOJ, the deep state, and all of that. Harass Trump, overcharge all these people for the J6 thing, make examples of them, mess with their money, string them out. I mean, force them to go ahead and roll over because you're going, all right, we're going to take you for everything you got unless you swear up and down that somehow Trump got into your brain and told you to go ahead and launch an insurrection. All of the things they're doing, harassing Trump, trying to tap his pockets, harassing all of the citizens that vote for Trump or support Trump, trying to scare us, punk us into saying, well, we better not show up to a protest. Who knows? We might find ourselves on a watch list. 2.5 years later, these people might come throw us in a slammer for about 20 years because we just looked in the direction of the protest. You never know. But this is what we're up against. That is why this upcoming election is the absolute most important election of our time. If you're alive right now, you are at the pivotal point in our history where it's like, dude, we got to win this election, man, or else it's a problem. It is a problem. You see what they're willing to do and capable of doing. So God bless y'all. God bless America. I kept it. It's 8:03, y'all. It's 8:03. I started about 6 minutes early, and I'm ending 3 minutes late. Don't forget, if you want to support the channel, the link for the fundraising link is right below this video. It's at the top. All you got to do is click on it. My $5 fundraising a month, from individuals, just $5. Now, if you want to throw in 10, 15, I ain't gonna stop you. You know what I'm saying? If I ask for one piece of chicken and you throw 3 or 4 on there, I ain't gonna be like, man, get this chicken off my plate. I'm gonna gobble that mess up too. Licking the fingers afterwards. I do it, man. But like I said, if you can, this offsets some garbage that's going on behind the scenes that I'm not even gonna burden you with, period. Not even gonna bring it up. But trust me, YouTube is playing some games. So anything you guys do, it always helps out and allows me to continue providing material for you, especially since now I'm going to be focused on doing a show every night from 7 until 8. Don't forget, call this, not call, but text this number and then text the word MAGA to it so I can keep you in the loop. And tomorrow, we're going to be dropping some more stuff, man, for Friday. So God bless you. God bless America. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Same time, same place, man. And we're going to get them trolls and these gnats. That's what we're going to do. I know you see the 8s. Yeah. Take care.